24 report, Financing for Development at a Crossroads, echoes what we've known for years. The SDGs are in peril, and urgent steps are needed to mobilize financing at scale to close the development financing gap, estimated at $4.2 trillion annually, up from $2.5 trillion before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Truly, the international system speaking with one voice, the result of collaboration between more than 60 international agencies through the Interagency Task Force on Financing for Development. This kind of cooperation for us is vital, and because of this, the report sets out we face what I think we can say is a serious development crisis, a crisis with finance at its heart that requires an immense amount of international effort to try to turn it around. That effort's got to start now, or it is for many, many countries game over. There are just 6 years to go till 2030. Multiple global shocks mean the Sustainable Development Goals are now worryingly off track.
Years to the SDG implementation deadline, development gains are going in reverse, with current trends pointing to 600 million people continuing to live in extreme poverty by 2030 and beyond. Burdens and rising borrowing costs are making a bad situation worse. Stronger and more frequent climate disasters account for more than 50% of the debt upsurge in vulnerable countries, while roughly 40% of the world's population live in countries where governments spend more on interest payments than on education and health.
Have no space to maneuver. Their borrowing costs are high. That 3.3 billion people, around 40% of humanity, are living in countries that are spending more on interest payments than on health or education. In 25 developing countries, more than a fifth of tax revenue goes on servicing external debt. And as countries struggle to service their external debts, attention naturally turns to efforts to increase domestic tax revenues. But in an increasingly digital, globalized economy, resource mobilization is really hamstrung without intensive and inclusive international cooperation to define how to uphold tax norms. And this is evidenced by the ongoing presence of tax havens and illicit financial flows.
She also echoed calls from the Secretary-General for a remaking of the international financial architecture to better support the development agenda.
To incentivize private investment that has a real and veritable impact on sustainable development. Private finance also brings technology and entrepreneurship, which are key to any society's development, and we can see that moving in many of our emerging economies. Second, we must remake the international financial architecture. You've heard the SG say this a lot, and it is a feature of the Summit of the Future. Our current system, set up in 1944, no longer fit for purpose. I think most people and things at 75 years would have lost their shelf life. Yet it's still determining the conditions for investment. So we have to increase the voice of developing countries in global economic governance and improve the architecture for the debt crisis resolution.
Just 15% of the 140 SDG targets are currently on track to be achieved by 2030. While adequate financing and reforming the global financial architecture are among the major challenges faced in meeting the SDGs, geopolitical tensions exacerbated by a Security Council simply no longer fit for purpose are also contributing to a reversal in development gains. The UN Development Programme warns that almost 2 decades of gains are being lost in Ukraine, while Gaza's economy shrunk by 24% in 2023 alone, nearing levels last seen in 1994. Poverty up, food insecurity acute, quality education and good health teetering, and international collective action that today appears incapable of meeting the moment. Shervin Briceby's SABC News, New York.